Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of the Jungle Show. Today, we're here to recap Auburn's big time win over Winthrop at home to start the Cancun Challenge by a score of 89 to 65. The Tigers finally looked really, really good offensively and shooting the ball, and it paid off for them. We're here to talk about all that and preview the upcoming game in a few minutes against Texas Southern. All that and more next on the Jungle Show. Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Jungle Show. I am Gray Oldenburg, and joining me here in a few minutes as he kind of gets back from coming back from Walmart is Chris Oldenburg. He'll join me here in just a little bit. But I'll be here starting off the show as we go live at Auburn Daily's YouTube channel and Twitch live stream every Friday at 6. We also have our pre-recorded shows that we're doing earlier in the week. Those come out either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, depending on the scheduling of Auburn's weekend games and midweek games. And we have our watch party coming up. We're going to go live at 6:55, 5 minutes before 7 Central, to watch the first half of the Texas Southern game. All of that is coming up here in just a few minutes, actually. So, but to start off this show, obviously, we're here to talk about Auburn's big time win over Winthrop. 89 points. They finally, and we're going to talk about this when Chris gets in here in a little bit, but if Auburn shots are going down, they look like a national championship contender. And they did in this Winthrop game, 47% from the field, 39% from three. We'll talk about the free throw shooting here in a little bit as well. They go 60% from the free throw line, only have 8 turnovers, and they score 89 points, 50 points in the second half. That's exactly what you want to see. Dustin said, let's score 100 tonight. Let's get two of those second halves that we scored or that we had in the Winthrop game, and we'll score 100 just like that, of course. Yeah. But talking more about this game, some of the teams, we look dominant offensively. And we're going to be very dominant defensively. We showed that in this game, especially since this team was so small in the big guy spots. Our big guys dominated. We'll get into that here in a minute. But offensively, 47% from the field. That's decent. 39% from three. If this team shoots 39% from three the rest of the way, they will win the SEC championship. And I think the only two teams that would compete with them are maybe Kentucky, maybe Arkansas, maybe Alabama. I don't see that happening, as instantly. But dots in this game, 89 points for Auburn was really good. So another thing I want to mention, so great to have Chance Westry back. Obviously, we saw what he could do in Israel. We didn't get to see that with, we haven't seen that in the past because those foreign games weren't broadcasted. But with those 3 games in Israel we broadcast, we got to see what Traore, Donaldson, and Westry, and even Janai Broome could do. And it was good to see Westry back on the court. Obviously, he was in a minute restriction, and they said he was only going to get 10 to 15, but he ended up getting 17 minutes, had 5 points, went 2 of 6 from the field, 0 of 2 from 3. I think that's just going to come with getting his legs back under him, getting back in the groove. He's a really good shooter. I think once he gets back in the groove, he could be a knockdown shooter for us. Had 2 rebounds and 2 assists. Those 2 assists were beautiful passes. I believe both of them were for dunks for Cardwell, I'm pretty sure. And he's so good. When he got out there, I was watching the game, and when he got out there, I was like, it just looks weird because there's no reason a 6'7" guy should be bringing the ball up the court like that. But he looked comfortable. I mean, obviously he's going to play point guard. It looked weird to me. I mean, I'm used to Javon McCormick, Jared Harper, Wendell Green, Sharif Cooper, the 5'10" to 6'1" guys, and Chance brings a whole different aspect to that, and it's good. It's really good. And those two passes were beautiful. He's very good at drawing defenders where he wants them to go to, and then making a play off of it. Obviously, we saw that in his two buckets and in his two great passes. So good to see Chance back out there. I want to see how they get him back in the offense, get him back in the groove. Obviously, you don't want to rush something like that, but being able for him to have 17 minutes in a game like this early on, just the third game of the year, I mean, that's exactly what you want to see. One of the only negatives that I saw in this game, and I mentioned it earlier just a second ago, and is the free throw shooting. 12 of 20. I mean, 60% is not good. 12 of 20, you think about that, that's not terrible, but you want that to be 16 out of 20 or 17 out of 20. Yohan Trahor went 4 of 8 from the free throw line, and Dylan Cardwell went 0 for 2, and his 2 were not good. Not good at all. They were bad. They were really bad. So you want to see that number improve. Obviously, in a game like this, it's not going to matter that much, but the more that number can improve, the better. Because say you make half of those misses right there, that's 4 points. Now you're looking at a 93-point game. And I don't know why, but the 93-point game and the 89-point game just looks different, And we'll talk about what this game could have been offensively. Obviously, it was a really good game offensively. We scored 89 points, but I want to wait until Chris gets in here in just a few minutes. What this game could have been offensively if somebody like Trahor or Katie Johnson or even somebody like Chris Moore, scores more. But we'll get into all that here in a minute. Going back into the positives, though, rebounding and defense. Just some stats here. Rebounding, you out-rebounded them by 20, 53 to 33. You got 11 more offensive rebounds and 11 more defensive rebounds and 9 more offensive rebounds. You had 25 offensive rebounds. Obviously, we talked about it in the preview show. This team is very small. Their tallest guy was 6'7". Our big guys should be able to get those rebounds. Even some of our forwards and bigger guards should be able to get in there and get the rebounds. And that's exactly what they did. Janai Broome had 8 offensive rebounds. That's amazing. I'll point out a comment here from Dustin. Zep giving us what he gave us offensively was a big plus. Obviously, Zep needs to take that bigger role offensively. He needs to, I said it all offseason, he needs to watch Bryce Brown tape and become that guy, because if he can become that guy offensively, okay, yeah, that's a huge plus. Him going, what did he go? He went 2 of 4 from 3. I'll take that every single night from Zep. Every single night, if he goes 2 of 3 or 2 of 4 or 3 of 5 or something like that, I'll take it every single time. Every single time. Or about defense. Only 26 points in the first half allowed to Winthrop. That's amazing. He had 11 blocks, 7 steals. And I said out-rebounded them by a massive amount. Janai had 8 of our 25 offensive rebounds. He looked dominant, especially at the beginning of the game. It just did not look like he was going to get stopped. And then not a bad matchup at all out on the floor. There wasn't a matchup out there defensive-wise that I was like, no, that's not a good matchup. That's a mismatch. We don't need to do that right there. So I'm going to cut this segment a little short, and we're going to bring in Chris. Dad, welcome back. Welcome to the Jungle Show. How are you?
That was a nightmare, but I'm back. I'm here. Thank goodness. That was wow. Sometimes you can get through Walmart really fast. Sometimes not so much.
Yeah.
So I'm here. I listened to the first part of the show on my way home from Walmart. So
that's good.
You did good. You did good.
whatever. But no,
What
talking
are we
about some
talking
of the
about?
stuff that we talked about offensively, we'll get into that here in a second, but the defense was outstanding.
It was great.
26 first half points allowed, 11 blocks, 7 steals. Not a bad matchup out there whatsoever.
No, we were
Out-rebounded
bigger,
by 20.
stronger, and faster at every position.
And it showed, yeah.
It showed. It showed in the way that Janai Broome played specifically.
Yeah.
He was – it was like they kept turning around and shooting it at him. And I was like, y'all keep – you're welcome to keep doing that. I don't think it's a bright idea. And yes, Dustin, I understand Walmart on a Friday night is a nightmare. But when the poor lady trying to make my sub sandwiches, I don't know if you've ever seen Tim Conway do his routine where he's an older person. He moves around really slow and takes one piece of meat and puts it on the set. That's what I was watching. I was like, "Oh, sweetheart, please hurry." Anyway, I thought the game allowed Janai Broome to say, "Look, this is what I do." And if you don't have anybody bigger than this, I'm going to destroy them. And Dylan Cardwell too, by the way. Dylan played a great game.
Absolutely. So a few players to mention here. Obviously, I just want to take your segment that you were talking about and immediately talking about Janai Broome. He's my player of the game.
Yeah.
I think you could go with Wendell. Wendell's outstanding, but I think it's easily Janai in this game. He looked absolutely dominant, especially at the beginning. You could tell that they had no answer for somebody like him. You could tell that his confidence was just getting better and better and higher as the game was going on. He had 18 points, 13 rebounds. 8 of those rebounds were offensive rebounds. He had 5 blocks, 2 steals, and 0 turnovers.
That's crazy.
That's fantastic.
Look, and granted, the competition for him wasn't that good.
Yeah.
They were 6'7" at their biggest. And the kid that he was guarding was an athlete. He could jump, he could move. I'm surprised they didn't try to take Janai out on the floor more and make him guard out on the floor.
No.
But the competition level is not what he's going to see as he keeps moving forward. But hopefully he can keep building and that ankle can keep getting better, and he can show what he can do.
For sure. So my question now with Janai, not just about the ankle and not just about getting him healthy and how he looked against Winthrop, can he look like that against not only bigger teams but more athletic teams at Winthrop?
So I think I would answer that question a definite yes, because of when we played the best team we played in Israel, he was the best player on the floor besides the NBA kid.
Yeah.
So I think he can play like that against bigger guys, faster guys, stronger guys. It's just his ankle's got to be right, and he's got to know, and I think he does, that he can play as hard as possible and use up every bit of energy that he's got, because he's got a guy behind him that's fully capable of defending and scoring, because guys passing the ball and he gets dunks. When Cardwell's not going to do a lot of post moves.
Yeah. But
I heard you mention good to have what's his name back in the game?
Chance, yeah. Chance.
Chance. The drive to the baseline and the dish without looking at Cardwell.
Yeah.
And then he put his hands up as he's running away because he knows he got a dunk.
That move was more special than people realize because of how Chance drew the defender away, how he looked a different way, how he just kind of handed the ball to Cardwell instead of bouncing it or throwing it at him.
Yeah.
It shows how natural something like that has become to somebody like Chance.
Yeah, I agree.
So, moving on to the next guy I want to mention, it's Wendell Green. Wendell has 16 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds this game. He goes 4 of 6 from the three-point line. Again, continue to say if his three-point line is or if his three-point shot is dropping, he's the best point guard in the SEC. Yes. And we're not going to discuss that anymore. Yeah. That's not a discussion. If he's
making shots, he can be the best.
Making shots and not turning the ball over, which he had 5 assists and 0 turnovers in this game.
That's a big deal because that's not normal for Wendell Green.
Yeah, last year that was part of his problem, and that's why he didn't start. That's why Zepp always started.
Yeah,
but
he was plus
fantastic.
28 in 22 minutes.
Yeah.
Plus 28 is just stupid. It's showing how he's making his teammates better. He's playing point guard. He's playing PG1.
Yeah.
You go plus 28 in 22 minutes.
Yeah, he's continuing to look like a Player of the Year candidate, and we're not just talking about the SEC Player of the
Year. So let me give you stats to back that up.
Okay.
Ferguson sent out a tweet 2 days ago. I sent it to you. Auburn point guard Wendell Green Jr. through the first 3 games of the season, he's averaging 17.3 points per game, which is amazing for a point guard.
For sure.
4 rebounds per game. 4.7 assists per game. He's shooting 50% from 2-point, 40% from 3-point, and 82.5% from the free throw line. He has a 2.16 assist to turnover ratio. If he plays like that, he's the Player of the Year. Like you said, nationally, not just SEC wise.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, he was fantastic in this game, and if he has another big night tonight.
Yeah. If he, like you said, if he's making his shot,
he's different to guard.
Is almost impossible to guard because he can get to the rim.
Yeah.
And he can. We don't do a lot of pick and roll like we did last year with Walker because Janai kind of picks and sets up in that mid-post range.
Yeah.
Expecting to get the ball, and he can get the ball there, and he's got a good shot. When Cardwell's in the game, it's pick and roll and throw it up as high as you can because Cardwell wants to jump up and get it and show off his muscles to the crowd. So
yeah, literally. One more thing I want to mention before we talk about the next player. Auburn got off to a fast start, not just in the first half, but in the second half as well, and it kind of just help them in the game, especially at the start of the second half. Winthrop had cut it down to a 13-point halftime deficit, and then Auburn came out and put like a 10-2 run on them, and it was over. And it wasn't. They weren't going to look back. Those starts are not something that we've seen in the past from Auburn teams, but Auburn has started fast in all but one game so far this year, and it was the game that we watched live against USF. We just didn't start well. USF didn't start well.
Yeah.
So if Auburn gets those fast starts, especially in the start of the second half, because we've seen how important that 4-minute time period, but above the 16-minute timeout of the second half are to a game. I just don't see how you're going to beat this team. If the shots are falling, if they're guarded like they are, if they get off to fast starts, if they don't turn the ball over.
A lot
this
team
is one of the deepest in the SEC.
Yeah.
They're extremely talented. They've got ways that they can beat you in every single possible way. Obviously, there are probably more talented teams in the SEC. I think Arkansas's one. I think Kentucky's one. I would be close with saying Alabama's one. That's it.
Yeah, so if they can get fast starts, it's really going to help. It all depends on their shooting. Because if you ask me how I beat this Auburn team, I play zone. I don't. My guys do not come near the 3-point line. They stay mid post and in.
Yeah.
Free throw line are top of the key, maybe an in, and you rebound.
Yeah.
And because I don't trust that Auburn's going to shoot 38% like we did the other night. I don't think we can trust that until they actually do shoot 38% like they did the other night again.
Well, yeah, they've got to show that Auburn's got to prove that they can do that consistently on multiple nights in a row.
Yeah.
And if they can, wow.
If they can, they're hard to
talking
beat.
about a different team. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the next guy I want to mention, and we're going to make this show kind of fast. That way we can get prepared for the watch party that we're going to do for the first half of the Texas Southern game. Yohan Traore had 11 points in this game. Also had 3 rebounds. Went 3 of 7 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3. His 1 3 that he made was beautiful. And 4 of 8 from the free throw line. So say he makes 3 of those free throws and just misses 1. He's up to 14 points. Say he makes 1 more of those 3s. He's up to 17 points. He's so close. He's so close. A lot of it is coming from, he hasn't, we've talked about it a lot. He hasn't played basketball a very long time. He's only been playing basketball since he was in 10th grade.
Yeah.
He's very, very raw, like extremely. He's shown promise. Obviously, we saw what he could do in Israel. He had the first 10 points of the game against the All-Star team that we played against. So we know what he can do against good competition. It's just getting him there. And he's so close to being a 15 to 18 points per night type of guy.
I agree. His 3-point shot looks good every time he shoots it.
Yeah.
They're leaving him open. Again, the only one that I would worry about guarding right now is Wendell or maybe Alan Flanagan. But to be honest with you, I wouldn't go out on them either. I'd make them beat me from out there before. And if they beat me shooting those, I'd shake their hand and say, that's great. I would, but with Traore, I want to see him get a little stronger on the inside.
Yeah.
Rebounding, defending on the inside. He's a good defender. He's long enough to defend.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's gotten a block shot this year yet. But he's a good enough player. And like you said, I agree. He's close. And those 3-pointers start going in, he becomes much more difficult to deal with.
Exactly. I mean, that's exactly what we saw with Jabari last year. And again, we will never compare anybody to somebody like Jabari Smith and somebody that has the talent of Jabari Smith. But he's showing a lot of the same kind of timeline here. He's a big 5-star that commits, plays that position, plays it just like Jabari. Will come in and try and step into that role. Obviously, he's not in the starting lineup. Jalen, who's playing pretty well, he's not scoring a lot right now. He had 4 points in this game, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, but was plus 22. I mean, you can't. Jalen's hard to take off the floor.
Fault. Yeah, no. As a senior, no.
Yeah. But Traore is so becoming he's on the exact same timeline as Jabari. Jabari struggled from outside in the beginning of games. He had games where he went for 8 points, 9 points, 6 points. And I was like, he's so much better than that. And then at the end of the year, he was going for 27, 31, 28, 26, stuff like that. It's getting him there. And I think we're just going to have to be patient, especially with somebody like Traore.
And like you say, just started playing basketball. He's an NBA player. Make no mistake about that. Whether it's going this year or next year, he's an NBA guy. I would just say that these early games especially are good for him because they're against teams that he can overmatch them a little bit and kind of get some confidence and learn his way around the Bruce Pearl offense and defense. And hopefully continue to get better. Yeah. Dustin's ESPN network. Sorry, bro.
I want to catch this question for you. I'm trying to look this up right now for you, Dustin.
He was a good shooter.
He was a good shooter. Let me see if I can find it.
I hate your ESPN app's not working, Dustin.
Max Pratt tells me he shot 35% from 3.
I'd take that right now.
Oh, absolutely.
I'd take that right now.
He had knee surgery. That's hard to come back from and just become that shooter again.
Yeah,
he shot the ball really well in Israel.
35%.
If he can become 35% from 3, just like he was in high school.
Yeah. Look,
how do you get that?
his best play was his first bucket.
Yeah.
Driving into the mid post and just inside the free throw line, pump faking, getting the guy up, going above him, shooting it, getting fouled, and going to the free throw line, making the mid range jumper. He's that type of player. Again, he's also an NBA type of player.
Yeah. What kind of role could we see Chance in tonight? Could we see him get a little bit of a minute bump? I said when you were on the show yet, he was projected 10 to 15 minutes on the minute restriction. He got 17. What could we see from Chance tonight?
I think he could get 19 or 20 minutes, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah. It just depends on who he's taking these minutes from, how the game's going, all that. So
yeah, he had 3 fouls.
Yeah.
He got 2 really fast. So he's got to stay out of foul trouble. Good call by your sister, who will watch the game with us. But he got to stay out of foul trouble to get those minutes up. And you got to get his legs more and more under him as you go into next week in Cancun, and then Memphis and St. Louis coming up.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched their game when they played the other night. They're both really good teams.
Yeah.
Both very physical, very fast, can shoot.
Those are tough
So
games,
it's going to be both those games will be a challenge.
Absolutely.
Tonight's game is going to be a challenge, by the way.
And that'll bring me right into my first question. What do you know about this Texas Southern team that Auburn's about to play in 30 minutes?
I know they're 1-4, so they're not like world beaters. I also know that the one win that they do have is Arizona State. And they beat Devin Cambridge and his brother. The weird thing about that game is it was not at Arizona State. It was at Texas Southern. Apparently the Pac-12 has got something with the SWAC where they exchange 2 home games for a home game at a SWAC team.
Oh my gosh!
So Arizona State went to a SWAC building, and I think they beat them by 2 or 3. It was close, but they. So what that tells me is they're not going to be intimidated by who we are, by the athletes that we have. Devin Cambridge is as good of an athlete as anybody around, so they weren't intimidated by him, and his brother's fairly similar. So. Yeah. They're not going to be intimidated. The crowd may get to them. I hope the crowd's good. It's a Friday night. It's a home football game tomorrow. Yeah. I'm sure the jungle will be rocking. They are athletic. They like to run. They like to get up and down the floor, which kind of plays into our hands, if you ask me.
I would agree.
And so we'll see. I think they're probably a team that hangs around for a little while, and then we run the second 5 on the court, and the start of the third 5 on the court, and I just think our depth will wear them down. Could they beat us? Is this a team that could step up and beat us? Yes. Ask any of the top 25 about can people beat you. A&M just lost their second game in a row by 29 to Colorado. I don't know if you saw it, but South Carolina, another SEC team, got beat by like 32 the other night, and it wasn't that close.
Colorado State.
That's not, a lot of upsets happen when a team gets really hot from 3. Mm-hmm. Colorado State only took like 5 threes the whole game. They pounded South Carolina on the inside. All of their points almost came from in the paint. Kentucky got beat. Kentucky played against Kansas. That's a bigger game, but
Michigan State.
Yes. All right. You're right. All these teams out there that are top 25 and are playing teams like Texas Southern or Winthrop, watch out. And hey, I'm a Carolina fan too. Carolina has a chance to get beat tomorrow by James Madison, who's been destroying people.
Yeah.
So you just never know, and you never know because it says Texas Southern on their shirts. Are the guys really hyped for it? It doesn't say Arkansas. It doesn't say Tennessee or Alabama or Kentucky. It says Texas Southern. They do have a good coach. The guy used to coach at LSU. I forget his name, but he used to coach at LSU.
Okay.
So
He knows it.
they're good enough to beat us if we don't play well and don't shoot well.
Yeah, got to shoot well, got to play well. Obviously, defense is going to take us as far as we want. We will be back.
I hang on. I think that's a really good point by Dustin.
Let me see.
Pull that up.
Okay, yeah.
Similar trajectory as Chuma. I think that's probably fairly accurate. His second year could be one of those years that people go, whoa, where did this dude come from? Did he play last year? Yeah, he did. And he's getting better and better. And I agree. I think he could. I'd like to see him stay for 2 years.
I see that. That's where I'm thinking. I don't know how likely we could see Yohan next year. I think it's more likely if he stays on the bench the rest of the year behind someone like Jalen, gets 9 to 12 points a game, starts improving through the year. I could see him easily coming back and being dominant next year, just like Justin said.
Yeah.
But this is a really talented player. I don't. Bruce is very pro go to the draft. So,
but does NIL change that now? Do guys stay in college longer because of NIL?
I think it's more about
playing in the NBA.
Playing in the NBA.
There. Okay. It's something to think about. I'd love to see him come back, and I agree with Dustin. I think he's on a real similar path to Chuma. I think it's a great point. Same type of player. Almost exactly the same type of player.
Oh, yeah. 100%. 100%.
Great call.
But we'll be back. We'll go live at 6:55 here in about a little over 20 minutes for the Texas Southern first half watch party. I'm excited to do that again. Hopefully it doesn't have the same result as the first half against USF. Hopefully we get a little bit better of a game.
That was bad.
But
that was bad.
We'll see. If not, we won't ever do it again.
Dustin, I hope your ESPN app works. If not, just join us and we'll try to walk you through it as best we can.
My goodness. All right. But we will be back then. And until next week, though, War Eagle.
War Eagle.